Hello everyone, and thank you for choosing the FlexiSpot E7. In this video today, I will show you how to assemble this and get it installed into place. When you receive your E7 standing desk, you should have the following parts and accessories included. Take the time to count out all the parts before you begin assembly. The screws are all separated into individual packets. They're very easy to count. You should have 4A, 4B, 8C, 12D, 14E screws, and finally, your Allen wrench to tighten everything up at the very end. So you should have 2 feet, 2 lifting columns, the crossbeam and control box, 2 side brackets, the controller, 1 cable tray, and 1 power cable. And finally, the desktop. Before we begin the assembly process, make sure that all of your parts and accessories are here. If anything is missing, please contact customer service. Once you've confirmed that you have all the parts necessary, we're ready to begin assembly. You will need a few tools. You have the Allen key that comes with it. You will also need a crosshead or Phillips head screwdriver and an electric screwdriver. First off, we need to put together the crossbeam and the 2 side brackets. Place the crossbeam on the ground and make sure the side with the bar and the black grommets are facing up. Then take the 2 side brackets, again with the black grommets facing upward, and place them on either end of the crossbeam. The black grommets will contact the desktop surface. They should be face up. Now, secure them together with the Type A screws. After installing the crossbeam, turn it upside down and place the lifting columns on both sides of the beam. Now it's time to install the lifting columns. For this, we're going to use 8 of the D screws. Make sure that the motor's interface of the desk is facing inward. To avoid having a wobbly desk, make sure that you tighten the screws thoroughly. Now that we have the lifting columns installed, it's time to attach the feet. For this, we're going to use the C screws. To make assembly easier, using the X screwing method of attaching the screws. And by that, I mean just doing it in an X pattern. And finally, hand tighten. And now we're ready to move on to the next step. Now we've finished assembling the base, it's time to attach the desktop. Use some of the cardboard from the packing material to protect the desktop from the floor. And when you lay it down, make sure that the pre-drilled holes are aligned with this to be face up. Lay it down carefully, and then you need to tilt this carefully, lay it down on here. Now this is very heavy, so take your time when you do it. Now what you need to do is tilt it up so that it slides easily. Otherwise the rubber grommets will tend to grip onto the base. Now this is set up compact for shipping, so we'll need to attach one side, loosen up the set screws, and then spread it out. As you know, this is an adjustable table, will fit a medium-sized desktop like this, or if you want a custom one of your own, you can spread it out even wider. So I've lined up the 4 holes on this side with the pre-drilled holes in the table. Now for this part, we want to do this by hand, right? Because we're going into wood. So we're going to get them started in the holes, but we're not going to tighten them all the way up yet, because we will need to lift this a little bit and spread this out to line up this side. These go in very easily, so there's really no need to use the drill for this. Now, with your Allen wrench, there are 4 set screws in here, and these are what maintain the tension on the slider. We're just going to loosen these up a couple of turns, and then we can adjust the width of the base. Now, one of the reasons we leave these loose is because we're going to need to lift up a little bit on here to slide it out. All you have to do is put a little pressure on the drill and make the hole that way. Now, I will drop a screw into the hole to make sure I'm aligned. Okay, so we have the width adjusted, have the screws into place. Now we're going to go back to the set screws in the middle and tighten them back up. Try not to forget this step, it's important. Now you're tightening onto rubber grommets, so make it snug, but don't over tighten it. Okay, so now that we've adjusted this and attached it, hand tightened at both ends, we need to do these 4 in the center. Now, because it's adjustable, these aren't pre-drilled. We just drive drill them ourselves. These screws function very well as self-tapping. I've put 2 in already, and I'm gonna put these 2 in. You can see what it looks like, just doing it by hand. Now just go through by hand. Now it's time to install the controller. I'm setting it up for a right-handed user, but there are pre-drilled holes on the left side for the left-handed user. These are pre-drilled, so again, they go in very easily, and you can't put it in the wrong spot by accident. All right, and we're ready for the next step. If you choose the left-handed switch position, or if you have a larger custom desktop that you're going to use, it's advisable to move the control box to the control switch. It's just 2 screws, and the position is exactly the same over there. It's very fast and easy to do. So if you ordered this controller with your desk, the installation is the same. This one has a second cable because it's got a USB port on it. This one doesn't. The installation, though, is exactly the same. Now it's time to hook up the controllers. Running the cables is very simple. They're in the center, and on either side of these are the controls. One looks like your standard phone jack, and the other one is just a 2-port modular plug. It goes here on the outside, and this one goes in here. Lastly, let's get the power hooked up. This is your AC power port here. It only goes in one way. You can't get it wrong. Now we're ready to install the cable tray. These are the 4 screws from B. We're gonna put them into place, but we're gonna leave them open a little bit so that this edge can slide underneath. Once the tray is in place, then you can tighten it down a little bit further. Just leave a little gap in there. That's all you need. Take the edge, slide it underneath, and then just snap it down into place. Tighten this up a little bit more, but really, it's in position. It doesn't really need to get much tighter. It should be noted that if your crossbeam support exceeds 172 centimeters, then the cable tray needs to be installed in the center of the extended crossbeam to offer reinforcement. Now we're ready to stand it up. Just brace one side with your foot, tilt it back. Get the feet on the ground, grab the crossbeam, and rock it back one more time. Now that we've finished the assembly and stood the desk up, all there is left to do is plug it in and test the controls. If you have any problems or any questions, please contact customer service. And thanks again for choosing the FlexiSpot E7.